All right, good morning. So what we're going to be working on is allie.chat. Where we got yesterday is that we made it so that all of the messages, as they are being sent in and routed, they also get sent out to their corresponding streams over TCP to the web API. So what we're going to create today is we're going to create the chat client for the TCP connection. Let me open that window. It's really hot in here. So let's go ahead and get started on this. If I serve the app and I open up the back end, the first thing I want to look at here is on this chat TS. Okay? There's the app running. When it says test, that means it's authoring in with TCP. So if I look at the chat component here, we need a couple of different things. The first one is some HTML. So let's add that here. So on this, I'm going to add this as a div here called ID equals chat container. And we'll put that in a class of chat container. Like that. And then what I want to do is up here underneath my title. So in this content, I'm going to have this as a div ID equals message table container. And I'm going to make a reference to that in my Angular code called a good morning Wishtaker OG. I did. I got a ultra widescreen monitor a few days ago. Been enjoying it quite a bit. And we're going to make this called a chat table chat container. Like that. So we'll say this is my chat message container. Okay, and then what we're going to do now, and I actually want to move that here into there. Now, you want to iterate through this thing multiple times, so this should really go in app root. Right here. So let me move this over. Nice. Here. So in my app HTML, under here we're going to add in this card like that with my router outlet, my chat container, my number of visible chats, and then what we want is here I want to have this chat container called chat message container. Like that. Okay. And so now if I look at my component here, I'm going to look at my chats visible and move that to my app component.ts. Same with this one. Okay. We want to leave the message subscription here. This is to unsubscribe the message. That looks fine. And this is in my chat component, so you no longer have this counter. So I'm going to do this as a hello world test. And in here we should now also have a counter. Counter of chats visible, and chats visible selected. So if I was to renew this, that looks better. And then instead of doing this one here as this test counter, I want to do a app chat. Okay, let's take a look at what we got now. Do you give it a login? Login again. And here we go, hello world test, and it should render a number of different times, and it does. So now that we have our chat component here, what's going on here? I thought I changed this. Yeah, you did. That was just an old one, okay? So now we can start to work here. So the first thing I want to do is I want to have that chat message container. And then what I want to do is a for each. It's a div, and we want to do a ng4 equals let message of messages. And then what I want to do is I want to have a class here called message individual container. And then here we want to say display avatar if we have one, but we'll skip that. And so now the next thing I want to do is here, I want to have this bold, and I want to have my is it 2 or 1? I can't remember. It's 2. So in here we're going to have my message.user.username. And then below it I want to have a span with the class equals text bottom. And we're going to say it's a colon with my message.message. Now if I open my interfaces called messages, which is here in App Core, it does have a message, a provider name, a user source. So this is a user source dot username. And then on chat component, we want to have a input parameter called stream ID, which is a string. So when we init this, I want to do a this.webhub.join group And I want to do this for my stream ID. Now we also want to have another one here called request leave stream. Called leave stream. Now on the back end, underneath my web hub, I should be able to have a leave stream, which is called a stream leave. Like that. Okay, back over here. When we do my onDestroy, I want to do a this.webhub.request leave stream this.stream ID. Okay, back in your chat component, after this is all done, I want to do a div called class equals message input box, message input container. And then here we're going to have a mat form field called class equals message input box. And we'll do this as an input, which is a mat input. And my ID will be message, and my placeholder is enter message here. And then we want to say that this is a name is equal to message. And then on key up, hey there, SciSec Hosting. How are you doing? Thank you for that host with 1 viewers. Very much appreciate it. Great contact. Keep that up. Thank you so much there, CryoSec Hosting, SciSec Hosting. Welcome to the channel. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to put them into the chat. Also, make sure you check out our Discord, discord.pixelhorrorstudios.com. We want to do this as .enter, and then we're going to do this as a send message. And then we want to put this as a two-way bound property called message. Okay, the next one is the button, which we'll need to do here as a div class equals message input button. And we'll have this as a button that is a click event called send message. And my appearance here will be outline. I want this to be a matte stroked button. And I want it to be a color equals primary. I want it to be a matte primary. And I want to say that it is disabled when there is not a message. Okay, so back over in chat component, I need to have here a message, which is a string. I need to have a send message, which will just do an alert called send message invoked. And the only other one that you don't have on here is messages. Which is a messages is an iMessage array. And when we receive one here, I'm going to do a this.messages.push my messages onto it. Let's give it another run. Okay, my server didn't start, so let me try it again. There it goes. We'll log in. And this is my number of visible chats is 0. This is good. So now it's iterating through these things multiple times. But it still doesn't know which is the stream that I want. So in here, we'll get rid of the stream ID. And in my HTML, I want to have a drop down called select stream. And this one I want to do as a ID equals stream select. We don't want this as an ID. I want this as only a class. And this is going to be stream select drop down, like that. And then we're doing change this to be a select the stream to view. Select the stream. And this one is going to be a stream ID called stream ID, which is a string. And then we're going to do a new streams, which is an iStream. Okay. So then we also want to do this as a this.webhub.request streams. And then up here we want to have a stream subscription. I'll be reviewing this when I'm not working because I'm embedding the chat client in my Angular app as well. Okay, that's awesome, man. Here, this is the link where I put all the videos up. I have to say building a chat client in Angular is pretty easy. So here I want to do a this.streams.unsubscribe. And then up here we want to do my this.stream subscription equals this.webhub.getStreams.subscribe. And it's going to be streams is an iStream array. And then I'm going to do a this.streams equals streams. And then I want to do my stream ID equals to undefined. So back over here in the chat component, this is my, for each stream of streams, we're going to make this value here the stream.id. And I want this to be my stream dot. And if I look at my iStream here, It's called string name. Okay, we'll give it a run. Select the string. Okay, it doesn't appear that it's grabbing them. So we don't want this request join string yet. Okay, good. So there it is. So it is populating. We can select it. And at this point, what it wants to do is we need to capture an event So let me see if I can find that. Right here. So we'll look at this and we'll do a Angular material dropdown on change event. And it's called selection change equals some method. So let me check that. That's correct. So we'll just dump this one in here on here on the mat select. And I'm going to say that this is my stream selected. And so then over here we can have a stream selected, which is going to pass in my event, which is an any. And I just want to do a console.log my event. Okay, when I try it again, it really doesn't want to get my streams here. So it's never firing my request streams because it says it can't if it's not connected. So I want to say if this.webhub.is connected, then we'll do this request streams. And if it's not, then we want to do a OAuth subscription, which is a subscription. And I want to add in here my private OAuth service called OAuth service. And I should have an event in here called just a second. It's called this.oauth.events.subscribe, and it's called my event of an OAuth event, like that. And then I want to do my const access token equals this.oauth service.get access token. And if my access token does not equal to undefined and my access token does not equal to nothing and my access token is not equal to nothing. Sorry, this one is null. Then I also want to say, and it so like that. Then I want to do this dot request streams on this dot webhub dot request streams. Now if I look at my OAuth event in here, data, this should have on it a event type. And we could do this one for token received. Like that. Try it again. This time when it loads, it went ahead and it fired and it requested the streams correctly. And here it is. Well, I thought it would have. It still didn't like this, so let's try it again. So let's go back and change this back to this one. There we go. And there it is. So this one now, it's showing my event, which is great. We're capturing it. So now when this changes on my chat component, I'm going to say my send message stream selected. I'll do that. And it's going to be a this.stream ID. So now when I join it, it should add it to the group, and it did. And so now, if I was to send a message on this stream, there you go, you can see that the message came in correctly, and we're displaying it. Send message invoked. So this is good. If I was to display multiple chats, and I create a different stream here called stream 2, when you save the stream, it should do a request. So in streams, when we save this, I want to do this.webhub.request streams, plural. Which means that now I could say I want 3, and I could go here and do a stream 3. And now I should have stream 1, stream 2, and stream 3. Now, back over in here, on my chat TS, if we do this and we say if my this.stream ID okay, I'm going to change this because I need to capture my previous one. So this is going to be a does not equal to undefined, and this dot stream ID does not equal to null, and this dot stream ID does not equal to nothing. Then we want to do this dot webhub dot leave stream this dot stream ID. And then we're going to do this dot stream ID is equal to event. And this needs to be a string. So now if I was to do this, okay, it's telling me it's got an error. So if I look at this thing again and I did a console dot log my event here as an any. It says undefined. So up here, I'm going to add another one here called stream ID joined. So if these things don't equal that, then you're going to do that equals this dot stream ID. Beautiful. So now if I was to send a message across the pipe, this time we don't get it, but I do get it if I go into stream 1. And there it is. So let's go ahead and add 4 chats and put this one in stream 2 and this one in stream 3. And if I was to do this again, so now this is iterating for every single one of these. And the reason that's happening is because when you receive this message, I want to say if my message.streamSource.id is equal to this.streamID, then we're going to push this message. Try it again here with another test. And this time now it's subscribing it twice. So let me change this up here, and I'm going to make a new service in Core Services called ng generate service called Core Services Message Service, and I want to put that in my module app. Now that's incorrect. So let's get rid of this. And I want to put this in my module called Core Services. There we go. So now when I look in here, we have my services module, my auth module, and my common module. I have my services.index here and my models. So if I look at my index here, we want to do export everything from message service. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this chat component and I'm going to add this to my message service here. So we want to add in the web hub, and the message subscription, and our messages, and this should be messages by stream. So we want to say interface I stream messages, which will be a string ID called a string, and a number of messages. So this is a I stream messages. And then here we want to have my message subscription. And can I do a implements on init and a on destroy? We need to have my ng on init and my ng on destroy, which is my this dot message subscription dot unsubscribe. And so now here what I want to do is I want to get my stream message which is equal to my stream messages dot filter, and we want to do the one where my stream ID is equal to my message.streamSource.id. And we want to get the first one. So if my stream message is equal to undefined, or stream message is equal to null, then I want to do my stream message equals new. No, it's my let And now we need to say that this has my stream ID is equal to message dot stream source dot ID, and my messages is just going to be that. Okay, and so now what I want to do is I want to do my stream message dot messages dot push my message, And I want to say now, if my stream message dot messages dot length is greater than 50, then I want to do stream message dot messages dot pop. That'll give me the last array. I don't want that. I want to get the first one. So I want to do a splice at 0, and I want to delete 1. And let's change this to be 5, just so that I can test it. Okay. So now I can add my stream message service to chat. Private message service, message service. And here, what we're going to do is I'm going to have a new subject here called message received subject, called iMessage, iStream message. We're going to move this to be it's in app core currently. So it's stream messages. And then down here I want to have a get stream messages, which is a, if I look at my web hub, down here at the bottom, we can just use one of these. And this needs to be an observable of an iStream messages. And we'll do return this dot message received dot as observable. Okay. So now in my chat component, I want to have a stream message subscription. And it's going to be this dot stream message subscription is equal to my this dot message service dot get stream messages, and we'll subscribe that as a stream messages, which is an iStream message. We need to unsubscribe that down here. And this one too. And then we want to say if my stream messages dot stream ID is equal to this dot stream ID, then we're going to do this dot messages. So this is a messages is an iMessage array. Dot push my is equal to my stream messages dot messages. Okay, we'll try it again. Let's go ahead and join 5 of these. We'll do stream 1, 2, 3, 1, and 2. And I'll do my test message from Discord. This time it errored on me. It can't find message service and app core. So in core module, an export here needs to be messages. So that's in my service module, which needs to be a message module, message service as an export. Try it again. Circular, so let's go ahead and get rid of this and this. Why would this have not imported? Message service here. That should be okay. Service Angular not found in module. Why won't it detect my service here? This should be bringing in message service. Why can't I get it? Right? This all looks fine. Is it that I need to import my core module here? I don't see it. Oh, it's because it says it's provided in root. Isn't it? So let me go ahead and get rid of this. And do this again as a module. And I just put this in core. All right. We'll put this back here and put this as a implements on init and on destroy. So if I look at my message service dot index and I got rid of it here, that one worked. I wonder why that didn't work. I want to do an alert here, which is called received message. Oh, it's because I never fired it. I need to do a this dot message received subject dot next, and I want to fire my stream message. Okay, let's try it again. And there it is. Now if I was to join 4 of these, and I put this one in stream 1, this one in stream 2, this one in stream 3, and I ran another test, perfect. It's only now putting them in the correct chats. So in chat, we had that this stream ID would get changed to something right here when you receive streams. We don't want to do that. Okay, we'll try it again. Oops, it won't work in that chat. It's got to be this one. And there we go. So that's working correctly. And I wanted to try 5 messages. Message 1, message 2. Okay, so it's not pushing them. It's pulling that one off. So in my message service, and up here what you want to do is you want to say, if this is null, then you're going to make one, and then we want to say this dot stream messages equals stream message. Dot push my stream message, which I just created. Okay, so now we'll do a message 1, message 2, message 3, message 4, message 5, and then now it should remove the first one, and it does. So on my globals, I'm going to add a new value here, which is going to be maximum number of chat messages, and that'll be 50. So over here now, I can inject that in my message service as a private global service called a global service. And then this is going to be my globals.maximum this.global service.maximum number chat messages. Okay, the next thing is that we need to be able to reply to those messages. So when I look at this and I append this message, I want to do my username, and then I want to do another span here. And we're going to say that this is my class equals provider. And I'm going to do one of those, and then it's going to be my message.user source dot, and then I don't know if we are going to be able to fit all this, provider dot name. Hey there, One Dibble. How are you doing? Thank you for that host with 1 viewer. Thank you again for that support. How are you doing this morning? Thank you for coming checking out the stream with us. Okay, it says that it doesn't have a provider, which is fine. So if I look at my iMessage, you do have provider type. So if I look at my globals, I need to have these in here as a get provider type. And I can look at my backend here for my enums called provider type. And it's going to be a Twitch, Discord, TCP, and WebSocket. And this one is a get provider types, and it's a Twitch, Discord, TCP, and WebSocket. So here, when I'm looking to get this provider type, I'll do that on my message service. Here I'm going to say my message.message. No, we don't want to do that. We want to leave the provider type as it is. And then I want to have a function here called get provider type, which is going to pass in here an integer. And we want to return my string. And I'm going to do a this.global service dot. We'll add that up here as a private global service called global service. And this is a get provider type of my provider type. Like that. So now I should be able to do this as a get provider type of my message.provider type. Okay, this time it's still not returning one. So let's go back to my message service where you're pushing the stream message on. I'm going to look at my iMessage and I want to say provider name, which is a string. And then we'll do a message.provider type. Provider name is equal to this.global service.get provider types of my. Oh, that's probably why that was failing. It's because it's like that. So we'll give it another test. Unhappy with me, can't read property 1 of undefined. Try it again. Same thing. Get provider types is not a function. It's my last try. And if this doesn't work, we'll go back to the other way that I know will work. Oops, I forgot to put this in the right place. Okay, so that's not taking, so we'll put this as a message.provider name. And then in my chat module, right here, I'm going to do a message.provider name is equal to my this.global service.getProvider types of my this.message. Sorry, it's just a message.provider type. And there we go. So now the next thing is on my messages, circular issue kind of dependency problem right here is saying that my services index and my message.service is referencing itself. So it says that it's this index is that it's referencing itself because it's doing services.module. That looks fine. That looks fine. Is it this? It's bizarre how upset this is at me. Interesting. Okay. Stream 1. And then we'll give it a test here. And it's working. So the next thing is that I want to have my channel name on here, right? So if I look at my models, I should have in here something called, and I'm going to pull this one over here for a minute so I can look at my messages structs. So on this one, we want to have a interface called iMessage Discord. We're also going to need to have one called iMessage Server. Which implements iMessage. And on it, we're going to have a server, which is an iServer. And then we'll have an iMessage Discord, which implements iMessage Server. And this one is going to be a channel Discord. And we want this to be an iChannel Discord. Okay, the next one is this also needs to have on it a user called an iUser. Okay, the next one is a message TCP, which doesn't have anything else on it. And then we want to have a iMessage Twitch, which extends this. And then an iMessage WebSocket. So the only one that's different here is Discord. So on this, when we receive this, get message received, I'm going to change this to be an iMessage server. Like that. And so then on the chat component, I can make this one say like that. If I look for my iServer, it's just called name. This is from my messages, which needs to be a iMessage server. Okay, we launched again. Question, what type of bear is the best? Bear Grill. Bear. What's his name? Is his name Bear Grylls? Yeah, I'll go with this guy, Bear Grylls. Okay, we'll give it another tester. This time we got my server name. Like this. And then here we'll just do a span for an ngIf equals message.provider name is equal to Discord. Okay, and if this is here, then we want to say message as a iMessage Discord dot channel Discord dot. How do I cast in this? I want to say TypeScript cast object. So we want to do this as this dot channel Discord dot name. Why is this want? Just a second. Let's just try that. False. It's a black bear. It sounds subjective to me. Good. That one worked. And now if I go into my... Let's go into here and we'll do this as a emphasis. And I go to twitch.tv/allie.chat. And I do another test here. There it is. And that looks right. I didn't see it. I see this space. Looks good, except for that it's still adding this little space. Oops, wrong chat. That looks better. So here we could do this as two ways. We could say that this is going to be ngIf equals message.provider name equals does not equal to Discord. And then if it is equal to Discord, then we'll do that. Plus the server name. And then we want to do the /span on these. So back here, now if I was to do a test here, it looks good, and I can do a test from Discord. And that looks even better. So now what we're ready to do is our messages outbound. So to do that, we need to, when we invoke this on my TCP connection, so that's done in WebHub, I want to have something here called request send message. And we're going to do a message called iMessage and then a string for my stream ID. And we'll just do this. And this will be a request send message. And we're going to send the message and the stream ID. So on the back end, on my hub, I can have a public asynchronous task called request send. We're just going to say it's called send message. And this needs to have the iMessage called message and the GUID called my stream ID. This is going to be a message send. And then you're going to read your stream here of your stream ID. And now here, what I need to do is I need to inject you have what's called a service TCP messages. And on this one, we have send to server, which is passing this packet. So here what we're going to do is my client service TCP message dot send to server, and it's going to be a new packet. And my action is going to be an int called action type dot. And this needs to be from core dot. Okay, and then we also want to say that my data here is my JSON convert.serialize object of my message, and my timestamp equals date time.utc now. So now that we're sending the message, I want to receive that on the server. Which is in my BLL called services or servers. Because this one is a TCP async server auth. That's in service bots TCP. That's right. So what we want to have here is a new service called service TCP server messages. And our first one is this TCP async server auth, which has an interface. Like that, called server. We don't have parameters for this one. And this one is going to be your server is equal to server. And this thing needs to be inheriting TCP async server. So we have my connection event. We have my message event, and we have my error event. Okay. So now if my server is connected, then you're going to serialize this packet, and you're going to do a server dot send to socket. So if I look at this, this thing should have a socket on it, and it does. You have broadcast to all authorized users. I think we want this one. And we want to send my message, which is just called packet. So we'll capture this. This needs to be send to all authorized users. But before I go through all of this, if I look at my services for routing, I think I already put this in here as TCP Twitch message routing. Like that. Okay. Like that. Okay. So when we get a message event here, I currently don't know what kind of message that is, do I? So let's go back and undelete that. This one. Because on this one, our server is sending everything it's connected to. So it's sending it out to the client. And now our client sends it back to the server, which is this on message base. We deserialize it and fire my message event. So we'll move this to be this one. Hey there, he codes too much. How are you doing? Welcome to the channel. If you have any questions what I'm working on, don't hesitate to put them into the chat. Very much appreciate those support there. I'm going to say that this is my service TCP server messages. Like that. And this will be a protected virtual asynchronous task. And I want to do a await task.from object from result of my object, call it null. And we'll just look at what happens here. We need to unsubscribe it here. And then now on my program, we need to have this as a async server auth. Okay, so this is called a service TCP server messages, and I can say that this is a I-based service. And here I could say services.add. This needs to be inheriting an I-based service. It says this thing's missing a lot of stuff here. This thing says it needs to have an ID on it. So I'll say a protected GUID called ID equals new equals GUID.new GUID. And then I want to have down here a public GUID ID, which is going to be me returning the ID. Clients needs to be a list of socket here. So you're going to say that this is called clients. And you need to have down here a public I collection of socket called clients. And we want this to be a I collection. We need to have one here called is server running. And we're just going to do a get here And if my server is not equal to null, then we want to return my server dot is server running. Otherwise, I want to return null or false. This one doesn't need this. It's just base service, which needs to be a good for my ID. This also needs to inherit from iTCP server. No, it's called async off base. Which means down here we could have a public bool is server running, and we want to just return is my server dot is server running. Well, we only want to do that if the server is not null. Like that. And we'll add that up here as a bool called is server running, which will just be a get. This one now is my service TCP server messages, which is a services.oftype service TCP server messages dot first. Like that. And this one here is my service TCP server messages dot send to all authorized users. And we can run this. And now on the front end, we have request send message, and here it is again. So in my chat component, when we do this, I want to do a this.webhub.request send message, and I want to do a new message. that. And on this, we need to have some properties. The message, which is this.message. The provider type, which we don't currently know. The provider name, which we currently don't know. The server source, which we currently don't know. The user source and stream source. Just like that. And we'll send it to that message, and then we'll send it to this .stream ID. Sequence contains no elements. Okay, so in program, you forgot to add your services.add new TCP service, TCP server messages of your services.of type I TCP async server auth dot first. Okay, we'll try a test message here. Okay, that worked. And now if I do this one, on my hub, okay, that's not working. So if I look down at my it says sending message. Is it because we don't have enough stuff on that? Or is it because it can't deserialize this and it needs to be a message base? Hey there, you codes too much. I'm doing great. How are you today? Interesting, it doesn't want to load my streams when it first loads up anymore. That's okay. Okay, that time it worked. We got my message base. It does say test. Now this one, we're sending this over to the web hub, which should be, this server message should be receiving it. Here. I'm working on allie.chat, the front end. You can see all these videos up at youtube.pixelhorrorstudios.com. So we'll fix that. Okay, on this code, get rid of that. Go ahead and send this to my server. We've received my message. It's very serialized. So we're going to deserialize my packet data, which I don't have anything. So that was on my message event. In this one, it was deserializing my packet. Okay, so my message here, when I deserialize this packet, I do have my data visible here on my server auth. Fire my event. Did it freeze on me? No. So there's my message. My packet never got set. One more try. This chat aggregates multiple RSS feeds into one's place. I see, so I'm never assigning here my packet. Which now I am. Let's stop it and restart it. The server didn't start. Do the login. This time, I do receive the packet. I deserialize it. Okay, something happened here on the packet, which is that This is your message. Yeah, it supports Twitch chat and it supports Discord and TCP and WebSocket right now. Still not loading that when it first starts. So my packet here, of which is being sent by the client, here can't I just send this just as the packet? And then this is loading it into the packet here. So that's this. No, I'm just about out of time, actually. Let's go ahead and start the stream. We do a test message. It says sending. We're going to deserialize it here. And my data. It says here my can't convert message, test, provider, user source, server source to type. Cannot cast string to It looks like that this is being serialized one too many times. So it's definitely serializing it too much. So if I look back at my client, when I'm sending this message,
No, that won't work because this is in core. This needs to be a string. And when I look at this, this is serializing my message. Doesn't need that. The message is already a string. That should help it a lot. And this one here, we want to do a JSON convert.serialize object, my message. A final test. Hey, when I look at my data, it looks like this time it's going to deserialize, and it did. And we got my message here, and then it's going to fire my message event, which drops me into my routing module. So we're in pretty good shape. Thanks so much for staying with me today. I'll be back in the morning. We should be able to finish this up. I'll be back at 5:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you haven't, make sure you check out our Discord, discord.pixelhorrorstudios.com. Also, I put all these videos up at youtube.pixelhorrorstudios.com. So thanks again, guys, for all the support, and I will see you in the morning. Have a good rest of your day. Bye, guys.